Okay, so here's one of the traps. Just wanted to show you what's going on here. We have some chicken and some fish in the middle. And what happens is the lobster or the crab crawls in to eat and gets stuck. That's the idea. That's how we catch it. Here's the trap. We're going to throw it out now. In about 15 minutes, we're going to check to see what's in it. Okay? Here's my son. He's pulling up the trap. Threw him in about 15 minutes ago. And he's pulling it up. You can see it down there. I don't think there's anything. Here we go. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Where's Lobster? You can see the tail and the feathers. This is a woman. This is a mother. Because the feathers are there's a lot of feathers there. On the male, it wouldn't be as many feathers. And the tail's bigger on the female. The body's smaller, the head. Look at this catch. Looks like a stingray. Right? Sand shop. That's a sand shop. You can take it home, I think. You gotta be careful. Stingray has a stinger on the back. And sand shark doesn't. There's no stinger there. That's gonna be a sand shark. Look at this. Sculpin and an octopus in the trap. Pretty cool. We're gonna throw them both back, obviously. But pretty cool. Here we are. The next day, we're gonna actually do a clean and cook and eat. Here are a couple of lobsters we were able to take home that were legal size from last night. Dante is going to start cleaning them, and you see what goes on from there.
Alright, so we got our two over here, and now we're going to clean them. What I first do is I get a paper towel, and we take off the antennas, because they actually come in handy later on, as you're going to see. And then there's one for each. Got one. Put that missing. And then we got two. Because we only have two, so we only need two. Bear with it, I don't know why. Okay. So now we do is, you know, they live on the bottom, they're all dirty. So we like to wash them off now. And get all the dirt off. You can just use a toothbrush. That's what we do. You just brush it off.
Brushing off with the sea salt and the dirt and the mud and all the...
Yeah. So now we got them all clean. And now we're going to start dissecting and clean everything out. What I always like to start off with are the antennas first. You just grab one, and you take a nice sharp knife. There's some skin in between. That's where you cut through. And then you just go around to the other side. Go around. Same with the other side. You want to make sure you find that little skin area too, or else the knife won't go through and you're going to end up cutting yourself. You don't want that. And then you take the paper towel and just rip it off. That one's done. You have time for the other one now. And a good sharp knife like this. The sharper the knife, the easier it's going to be. So now, they don't have any more antennas. Next step is we're going to get these legs off. And what I like to use is a scissor. It's a lot easier. So you just snip them off. Alright, so now they got no antennas, no legs now. You could almost, like I don't know, but it's happening. So now, what we do is next, is we do the tail. So get the same knife that you've been using. I do this over the garbage, and you go up. Just up. Both of them. Go as high up as you can so you try to get all the meat from the top. And got the this cutting board over here. And right at the end, you're going to snip it off. Right here. So it loosens everything up. Snip off the head, and you do this side. Snip off this side too. So now it's loose. Do the same with this one. Now there's a membrane over here which obviously connects the tail to the head. That's the next important part. So in order to get the most meat out as possible, you want to cut this now. So you loosen, get this membrane out. You flip them both over. So now that bottom meat, you want to take your fingers and you want to put it right through. Just run it all the way through like that.
Get as much lobster meat out as you can, tail meat.
So you get all that at the bottom, which where you could use a knife. That's what we used to do, is just cut it with a knife fully. But now I like to take the head out like that. As you can see, there's nothing left. Now we got the two tails, and you know, the guts are out, and this is where I said these two antennas, these little tools. So you use the end, and then they're called spiny lobsters. So they have backward facing spines on the antenna, which is why you need to use them. So you take the tail now, and then there's a little anal vent. There's a hole, and you stick it in there, and you twist it a few times, and then, well, if it doesn't come out the first time, it'll come out the next time. But what you want to do is you want to get them. So now this is everything. So there's actually meat and everything here. There's the legs, the antennas, and then the tails, obviously. Now we're gonna make. We got some shrimp that I already peeled over there. We got some linguine over there. You already know where I'm going with this. We got sauce. I'm gonna make the lobster and shrimp sauce.
Lobster and shrimp sauce.
So now, so the meat gets cold and comes out easily. I put the tails in the freezer so they kind of get cold. So the meat comes out a lot easier when I'm ready to chop it. So this is gonna go in the freezer now, and then we're gonna cook those up. All right. So all I put in this, we said steam. You could steam or boil it. It doesn't matter. You could still have this. We're still gonna have the same end effect if you steam or boil. It doesn't really matter. All I put is just some salt, our favorite Old Bay seasoning, and some bay leaves. And once that boils, we're gonna put in all the limbs, and then
all the legs and antennas.
All right. So now all the seasonings we put in, it's all boiling now, and now we're gonna put in everything. And then depending on how big they are, the legs and antennas and so forth, depends on how long you cook. These are just, you know, your average. So I usually like to cook it for 2-3 minutes. And then I'll show you later, I'll test what I like. Because, you know, the antenna has like meat on the end. And I'll grab one and I'll see if it's firm. If it's firm, that's a good indicator that now it's been about, I'd say, 5 minutes. And then as you can see, it's nice and red. And now, like I was saying, let me see. You just take one of these out. If it's too hot for you, you can rub it against the pan. That'd also work. But I like to just, it's nice and firm. It's a sign that they're done. So now all you do, strip that off. We strain out all the water. Watch out for the steam. Put it back on the stove. Make sure the burner's off so the shells don't burn. You don't want that. And then you literally just put more Old Bay on it. Mix it together. And then the more you mix it, the meat will get all over the meat. The seasonings will get all over the meat. And it gives it a really nice flavor. And then, there we go. So this is the end product. And now, what you do is you take it like that, snap it, back and forth. And the meat, if you cooked it good, should come out.
Look
just
at
like that.
Oh, nice.
And then there's meat in this and this, and same concept. The antennas are a little bit sharp, so you could use a nutcracker, but it's the same concept.
Very nice. And then we dip that in butter, or we can...
You could dip it in butter, or you could just eat it by
eat
itself.
it by itself.
Yep.
It's already seasoned.
It's already seasoned.
It is so good, you guys. You gotta try this. Okay, here we are. We're getting ready to eat these legs and antennas. This is an antenna we're using a nutcracker for because they're very sharp. They're very, very sharp edges. You can hurt yourself, so you gotta be careful. we go. I'll just peel this off a little bit. And you're gonna see a nice piece of lobster meat. Most people, not everybody knows that this kind of meat inside the antennas of the lobsters. And we didn't mention much, these are spiny lobsters. They're not the main lobsters that have the big, the claws on them. There's no claws, there's just legs and tail. Look at that meat. Well, you could eat it straight up, or you can dip it in butter, but Dante seasons it so well that, so good. So good. You guys have to try this. Wow.
Put it in the freezer now for quite some time.
About 20 minutes or so, the tail's been in
20
there?
minutes. They're nice and cold. They're not frozen, but they're cold enough where now the meat, if everything went to plan, the meat should come out a lot easier and make your life a lot easier. So there they are, nice and clean. The veins out, washed, and you're ready to do whatever you want to do. In this case, we're going to make a sauce. Alright, so now they're both split. And now to take the meat out, you could use a fork, or if the meat is cold enough like it should be, you could literally, you don't even need a fork, you just use your thumb. And you go in between, get in there. Sure to grab all the meat. And if you cooked it good, and if you froze it long enough, and it's nice and cold, the meat should pull right out. Nice and easy. There's no meat left, all the meat's out. And then you just do it with all of them. And then after you do that, you want to wash it off. You get all like this blood. It's not blood. It looks like
It's like red from the shell,
right?
huh? It's like
So you
color
wanna-
from the shell.
You want to make sure that's all off of the meat, so the meat's nice and clean.
Here we go. Here are the tails that Dante just cleaned. Now what do we do next, bud?
So now you have like the two parts of the tail. You have like the big piece of the meat, right? And then you have this little end. And they each have them. And you could cut them however you want. Personally, how I like to do it, because like it can make more pieces, is you flip it over, right? And you can see it already kind of like outlines right there. They all separate from there. So I'll cut that first as a strip, and then you could just start cutting them in chunks like that. And you haven't even got to the main piece yet, but you can make a few pieces out of just these sides.
All right, here we are. Dante took the lobster, the meat out of the tails, and here he is cutting up. What are you doing, son?
So we're cutting the meat up now. We're gonna put in the sauce with the shrimp. Just kind of in nice bite-sized chunks.
Here we go.
So now we're gonna start making the sauce. So I got the butter, because butter is a must. Butter in there. And then I already pre-smashed some garlic, put that in there. And then, so all we do is just put salt.
Pink salt. And what temperature do we have this on?
I put it on medium for now.
Medium, starting on medium.
And you don't want to put too much salt, because the Old Bay already has a lot of salt. But you still want to add some salt in there. And then some black pepper. And then the Old Bay. And you don't want to put a lot of Old Bay because you want that flavor.
That's a special ingredient, huh?
Yeah.
That's the magic.
Put a lot of that in there. And then last, you put the parsley. And then you don't really need a carrot. You just put a bunch of that in there. And have this all melt down. And then once it melts, we'll put the meat in. Alright, so now it's all melted down. All the seasonings and the butter and garlic. And it's sizzling nice. That's kind of what you want. You don't want to put the meat in yet until like the butter is nice and hot. So it starts cooking right away. And then we're going to add our shrimp. Yeah, you want to like that. And then these are some nice sized shrimp. So what I'm going to do, I think I'll probably cook these. And this is all going to vary depending on what type of stuff you have. But I'll probably cook these for a minute or two first before I put these in, just because you do not want to overcook the meat,
You overcook the lobster, but it gets too tight.
Gets too tight.
Too chewy.
And then, like I said, these are some nice sized shrimp. So I'll probably let these go before a minute. And then I'll put it in the lobster since it's a little bit smaller. And then they can all finish cooking together. Alright, so now, as you can see, it's starting to tighten up. And this is the perfect time. Now we're going to add the
Now it's time to add the lobster meat. The spiny lobster meat.
So now everything's in. And you want to have it like just on medium, nothing too crazy, because you don't want to cook it too fast. And then you just mix it all in, and then every like 2-3 minutes because you could cover it and it'll cook better, but this is a wok pan and it didn't come with a lid, so you could pull it off like this too. And you just let it sit, and then like I said, every 2-3 minutes you just give it a little stir until it's full. Alright, so as you can see now everything is pretty much done, and then we're gonna see.
We always gotta do a taste test.
Always gotta do a taste test.
Just to make sure it's all like nicey nice.
Here, give me the camera.
Oh, I'm tasting.
Mmm. Tasty and crunchy. I don't know if you ever had shrimp that's crunchy. It's like unbelievable.
So, what you think?
Superb.
Superb?
Delicios. Delicios, baby.
Okay.
So now it's pretty much done. You shut this off now. And then I had the actual tomato sauce. Just, regular Hunt's tomato sauce. I heat it up. So now we got the water boiling for the pasta.
Yep.
And
Good
sauce
sauce.
over here. And you literally just put it in. And then you want to do this when the heat's off. You don't want to have the heat on because the sauce is already hot and that you just finished cooking the food, the meat.
So no temperature at all, just to...
No temperature because you don't want it to
Everything's already hot. The sauce is hot.
You don't want to overcook in the sauce. And then I have the ladle now. And you just mix it all together. All the seasonings, all the meat will all come together now. All the butter, the garlic. And now you're going to give some flavor to that just plain tomato sauce that was at the beginning. It's all going to have all the flavor to it. You can see all the garlic, everything in there. So this is pretty much done. Now we're just going to wait on the linguine, and then we'll catch you there. Alright, so the pasta is done now. The linguine. So you put some in a plate like so. And then you come over here, and then you got your shrimp. You got your chunks of lobster tail in there. And then you can use this to drizzle some sauce on top. Top it with some Parmesan cheese if you want, and there you
You
go.
can see I got a nice sized plate here with some cheese and some shrimpies and some lobster meat. I'm gonna try a light piece here. Mmm.
What you think?
So good. So tasty. So rich. Gotta love it. Good times. The best.
This. Look at Will trying first time Dante's lobster and shrimp dish.
Good.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Ooh, it's a little spicy too. I
little
love spice.
spice. He loves the spice, my boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Grade?
Mm-hmm.
An A?
A.
A all the way?
A all the way.